Alright, this is Jackson Wright. This is my video for Project 1. Here I am in my index page. If you click Project 1 like here, you'll be taken to my Dig Dug game. So I'm just going to go over all the elements in the grading rubric and show how I have accomplished them. First thing first, when you're brought to the game, I tell you to push space, give you a tiny tutorial, push space again, and here you are. You can walk and run around. You're obviously the player at the top. The enemies down there at the bottom are your goal, and you want to destroy them. So for definition of game objects, I have my player here, and I have all these tiles, and I have the enemies, and I have my projectile. So the player, anytime he touches a tile, will destroy it, and he can also shoot his projectile to slowly destroy tiles. It takes 4 hits. Also, not only can I interact with tiles, but I can interact with enemies. As you can see here, I will shoot him dead, and he'll blow up and destroy tiles. So me and my projectile interact with tiles, and my projectile interacts with enemies, and enemies interact with my projectile, and enemies interact with tiles. And as I was showing you the definition of game objects, you've obviously seen the animations. My character will have a running animation coinciding with what direction he's facing and whether or not he's running up or down. And enemies have this sort of idle running, bouncing back and forth animation. They're kind of silly and stupid. They just sort of run around randomly. They're nice and cute. They like to hop around. And of course, when I attack them enough, they puff up and explode like that. And they sort of blink when they're about to blow up. So keeping score, every time you mine one of these little blocks here, you will gain 5 points. So it's beneficial to sort of mine out bigger areas. And you'll also gain 100 points for killing an enemy. You'll notice I already have a few hundred points, and I haven't mined 100 tiles by now, so a lot of those points are from the enemies. And just to further prove that, I will kill this guy and watch my score. 1, 2, 3, boom. And now we're at the next level. And the next level, your score will still be the same. The terrain gets reset, and more enemies will spawn. As you can see, there's much more than last time. So here we go. I'm going to kill some guys. Alright, so for complexity, what I'm doing here, every frame, I mean, I'm checking 100 tiles against my player and my projectile, and the enemies are checking 100 tiles, and I'm pathing the enemies and making sure the enemies aren't dying, or if they are dying, tons of stuff. So it's relatively complicated. It's not Pong level. I would say this is pretty complicated, but I guess it's up to you to make the final decision. After all, you're grading this. It's the overall look and feel. I have made all my own art. I tried to make it in a nice retro style. So even though my art is like 48 by 48 pixels, I tried to draw in groups of 3 pixels so it would have a sort of retro feel. And also my physics are in groups of 3 pixels as well. So I have the capabilities to go lower than this, but I really do like how clean this looks when you have larger blocks, and I don't like the HTML upscaling. It blurs it. My personal twist, relatively different from the original game, would be the way you interact with these enemies. No longer can enemies float through walls randomly, and now the enemies also explode, and your projectile can mine blocks, Minecraft style, from a distance. So you have more tools at your disposal for safely dispatching these guys. You can open these walls from a distance. Also, I guess I'll show you me dying here. I'll touch one of these, boom. And you're basically forced to restart the game. 1 life, 1 hit point. You can die either by touching an enemy or by standing too close to it blowing up. Here, I'll try and show you it blowing up. That other guy touched me too quickly. So I'm going to stand next to it, boom, and you're dead. If you can see, I don't know if the frame rate in this video is good enough, but these little guys, they have a blowing up animation. They look like a popped balloon. Boom. Yeah, and that's what will kill you there. So there's no gravity, of course, just like in the original Dig Dug. Your movement is also locked to a grid. That's how I walk so perfectly among these squares. However, it feels natural. If you turn axes, you will tend to ride along a line that would bring you in line with an axis, depending on which direction you're facing. So that's something I also store, is the direction you're facing at any given time, including up, down, left, right. Documentation, that's all in the README, that's all in the grading.txt and the report. And this is my demo, so I guess that's all the grading items, and I've shown you guys progression as of moving through higher levels, and I've shown you dying, restarting, killing enemies, me interacting with them. So yeah, that's about it.